Hello everyone. Today we're going to make square number 49 of our 2025 sampler blanket. This one is called the 3D Twisted Granny Stitch. And look at that. Have you ever seen anything like it? I haven't. It has a lot of texture. And I've gone against my grain because I was only going to use mildly textured squares. But throughout our 49 squares, there's the odd one that's a little thicker in texture than others. So I thought I'd throw another one in so it had one to match with. So let's go and get into this 3D Twisted Granny Stitch square. To make this square, you're going to need your yarn. I'm using Stylecraft Special DK, which is an 8-ply. You'll need a corresponding hook. For me, that is a 4mm. Scissors, darning needle, and a ruler or tape measure to keep track of the size of your square. For this pattern, I'm using US terminology. And making our chain, it needs to be a multiple of 4 plus 2. So I'm going to go 6 times 4 is 24 plus 2. So 26 chains to begin with. So with a slip knot on your hook, yarn over and pull your yarn through the loop that's on your hook to make a chain. You go off and make the amount of chains you need, and I'll meet you at row number 1 is simply single crochets into each chain. Now, looking at your chain, you'll see little V's on the front or little bumps on the back. I work into the back bump, but you can work into whichever way you prefer. So we're going into the second chain from the hook, so 1 and 2. I turn over and go into the back bump, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through stitches for a single crochet. Popping your hook in the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Hook in, yarn over, pull through 2. Now go off and make a single crochet for your whole row. Round number 2, we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. The chain ones in this pattern at the beginning of each row don't count as a stitch. We're going to do a double crochet in this first stitch below. So yarn over, pop your hook in, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Skip the next single crochet, and we're going to do 3 double crochets into the single crochet after the one we skipped. Now we're going to skip one and do 1 double crochet. Skip one and do 3 double crochets. So we're going to alternate like this across the whole row number 2. At the end of row 2, you've got 2 stitches left. So we're going to skip one and just do 1 double crochet in that last single crochet. Chain 1 and turn your work. Row number 3, we're going to do single crochets again. We're going to begin in that stitch directly below and work your way across the top of all the double crochets. To start row 4, we're going to chain 1 and turn our work, remembering the chain 1 isn't counted as a stitch. We're going to begin this row with 2 double crochets into that very first single crochet. 1 and 2. Skip the next single crochet, and now we're going to do 1 double crochet into the next. Now we skip the next single crochet, and working under the next single crochet down on row number 2, we're going to do front post double crochets around that double crochet. So we're going to do 3 of them. Yarn over, popping your hook down through the gap around the back of that post and out the other side. Picking up a loop and pulling it through. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So that's 1 front post double crochet. Now we're going to do 2 more. 1 and 2. We're going to skip the stitch behind and work a double crochet into the next. Now, the placement of these double crochets in this row are above the center double crochet of the cluster below. So we're alternating the placement of them as well. Skipping one and now working your front post double crochets around that single double crochet from below. 1, 2 and 3. Skipping a stitch behind and working a double crochet into the next. We're going to skip the next stitch and we're going to do 3 front post double crochets around that lonely double crochet from row number 2. We're going to skip the next stitch, which is behind this one, and do 2 double crochets into that last single crochet. Chain 1 and turn your work for row number 5. Row number 5 is going to be nice and easy again, just single crochets all the way along, starting in that very first single crochet below. Row number 6, we're going to chain 1 and turn our work. We're going to do a double crochet into the space directly below. Now we're going to go straight into our 3 front post double crochets. We're going to skip a stitch and work directly below around that single double crochet. That's 1, 2 and 3. Skip a stitch behind. Now we're going to do a double crochet above that center stitch of the cluster below. All right, now we're going to skip a stitch and we're going to work around that double crochet from 2 rows below with our front post double crochets. Skipping a stitch and doing a double crochet. Skipping a stitch and doing the last set of front post double crochets. 1, 2 and 3. And now we're going to do 1 double crochet on top of the last single crochet from below. Let's check the size of my work. It has actually increased a little bit. I couldn't make it any smaller because it just would have been far too small. So we're now going to go back and repeat row 3 again, which is just a chain 1, turn your work and do a single crochet into the top of every stitch below. At the end of row number 7 it actually is, we just do a single crochet. We're going to chain 1 and turn our work. Now we're going to do 2 double crochets into the stitch below. Skipping a stitch, we're going to do 1 double crochet. Skipping a stitch, we're going to do those 3 front post double crochets around the double crochet 2 rows below. We're going to skip a stitch and do a double crochet on top of that second stitch from the cluster below. Skip a stitch and then work around the double crochet from 2 rows below with 3 front post double crochets. Skipping a stitch. At the end of this row we've got 2 stitches left, but we can't do our front post double crochet around this double crochet at the end. So we're just going to skip 1 and do 2 double crochets at the very end of this row. 1 and 2. Chain 1 and turn. This is a single crochet row. So doing a single crochet in the first stitch below and every stitch across. I'll see you soon. This is actually the end of row number 9. We're going to do our last single crochet, chain 1 and turn. Now we are going to do 1 double crochet in the stitch below. We're going to skip a stitch and then we're going to get into these 3 front post double crochets. 1, 2 and 3. Skipping a stitch, we're going to do 1 double crochet in the single crochet above the center of the cluster, skipping a stitch and working 3 front post double crochets around the single double crochet from below. I think you've probably got the hang of it now. Look at that. That's actually looking really great. It's kind of highly textured actually. I was using subtle textured patterns up until now. We're going out with a bang, you guys. So we'll skip a stitch, do 1 double crochet, skip a stitch, we'll go around that double crochet from below and keep going on for this row. Now we're at the end of what is row number 10, and we're going to do 1 double crochet in that very last stitch. Chain 1, turning your work. For row number 11 is a repeat of row 3, so it's single crochets all the way along. And then you just keep repeating what we did for row 4, 5 and 6. I'm going to leave you now and I will come back to you towards the end of the square. And I hope that everything's been a-okay. Remembering that you are repeating row 3, 4, 5 and 6. I've just done my last row of single crochets. I thought I was going to need to do another row of the granny clusters, but as it turns out, it's just about to size. And I'm going to have to stretch this one a little because it is a tiny bit too wide. Anyway, it is a lovely textured square like I've not ever seen before. Look at that. Has a lot of sideways give and actually lengthways as well. I can see this one being a lovely pattern for a wearable. Can you? Righto, let's snip off our ends. I'll go off and darn them in and I'll meet you back here soon. And there we have our 3D twisted granny stitch, and this is square number 49, which in theory is the end of the sampler squares, but I'm going to do one more as a bonus because there is one square I really don't want to put into my blanket, and I have a feeling you may feel the same way. Let's wait and see if we can guess which one it is. All right, I'll see you really soon for video number 50. Bye.